Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for those who are joining us. We're very, very grateful to have you join us for the Y Plus Global membership webinar. I know that some of you may have joined us back in November for the first one. And if you're joining us again, we welcome you back and thank you for taking the time out of your busy day so that we can walk you through the membership framework in a little bit more detail with you, and then we'll offer you the opportunity to ask any questions if you have any. Let me just quickly introduce you to our speakers, just so that you can know who they are first, and then we'll have a quick announcement before we begin. So I would like to invite Maximina, Saru, and Gabriella just to quickly announce yourselves. Just let us know who you are, where you're from, and then pass it off to the next person. Maxi first.
Sure, and let me know if you are hearing a bit of noise. Is it okay?
No, all good, all clear.
Okay, that's great. Hi, everybody. So good to be in the space. It's so good to see everyone, new faces, new old colleagues, the ones that we usually work with, and the new ones that are joining us for the first time. So really super, super exciting times, guys. I'm particularly excited about the next phase of this um, what will seem a very much partnership, collaboration, whatever we want to name it, we can name it
Mhm.
as much as we want it to be, right? So really, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Maximina Jokonya. I'm the Executive Director for Y Plus Global, and I'm really glad all of us are here. Just to say, this is a very safe space, guys. This is the space for us. So today, while you are giving presentation, yada yada, let's discuss. Let's be real. Let's be intentional, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to at least. I'll shut up. Gabriella, over to you.
Thank you, Maxi. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here. I just wanted to actually introduce myself or translate first what Maxi said.
Oh no, just introduce yourself and
Good.
then.
And then I'll do that. Good. So very happy to be here. I am Gabriela. I've been working with some of you for the last 5 years almost, being part of Y Plus. Super excited to be here. I'm a senior project officer, and I'll be telling you a little bit more about the youth definitions and yeah, some exciting tools that we have for you. So very happy to be here.
Thank you, Gabriella. And last but not least, Saru.
Thanks, Eddie. I mean, the vibe is already very good, right? Okay. I think I'm gonna switch off my video for just for now, just in case my network just like lags a little bit. But my
Sure.
name is Saru Rusike. I am the programs manager for Y Plus Global. For some of you, you've only seen my email bouncing back and forth. You haven't seen what I look like. So this will be our first real interaction. But happy to be here, and I would love to hear, thoughts, opinions from everyone who's part of this webinar. Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Maxi and Gabriella, for introducing yourself. And hello, everybody. I'm the one that's been emailing you and trying to get you to sign up to this webinar. My name is Eddie Rudram. I am the Communications and Advocacy Manager at Y Plus Global. I am based in Bangkok, Thailand, and I'm very, very excited, just as well as the team, to have you all here, new and old faces. I'll pass it off to Tawanda just to make a quick announcement, and then Gabriella, just jump in afterwards just to translate, please. Mhm.
Thank you so much, Eddie. Welcome everyone to this wonderful webinar. I'm here to take you through how to go about the interpretation. So for those of you on laptops or desktops, please kindly head over the bottom of your Zoom window and find the globe icon. Next to it will be written interpretation. Kindly click on it and select the language you prefer. We have interpretation in 3 languages: French, Portuguese, and Spanish. For English speakers, please go ahead and choose English so that you are able to hear translations from the other languages. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you, Tawanda. Gabby, amiga. Hola, you're on mute.
Speaker on mute, it's my hobby. Good. Bueno, voy a hacer una traducción pequeña, rapidito de lo que acabamos de decir. Tenemos a Maxi, nuestra directora ejecutiva, que está muy feliz de estar acá para ver y discutir hoy. Los invita a todos y todas a que sea un espacio seguro en el que vayamos a ser intencionales, en el que discutamos más de lo que estamos presentando. Tenemos a Saru también, nuestra project manager. Algunos la hemos visto, algunos no la hemos visto, hemos compartido emails con ella, también muy emocionada de estar acá. Tenemos a Eddie, la persona que los ha estado enviando miles de correos para invitarlos a este webinar tan emocionante, también muy feliz de estar acá. Y a Tawanda, que es también parte del equipo de comunicación e incidencia con Eddie, que nos explicó un poco de cómo hacer la traducción. Tenemos traducción en español y en portugués. Si ustedes quieren, abajo van a encontrar un icono de un mundo. Si no lo ven, pueden darle clic también en los tres puntos y ahí pueden elegir el idioma que deseen, portugués o español. Y, bueno, yo me presenté, soy Gabriela, trabajo para Y Plus como manager también. Y sí, eso es todo. Just Spanish, right?
That's it. Thank you so much.
Good, great.
Sí, muy bien.
Muy
Gracias.
bien, gracias.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, guys. Maxi, over to you.
Sure. Thank you so much. I'll try to keep to my time. I have a tendency of over speaking or over emphasizing or super excited, all the all the above. But I'm like I said, I'm super excited about these conversations today, right? Because I think it's a long time coming. I think that's the first thing, but also it provides us with such a platform where we need to be very intentional about the conversation and try as much as possible to kind of formalize some of these processes, right? I know all of us have been working one way or the other together in this movement, and a lot of times we get questioned, our legitimacy gets questioned. Why do we exist as young people? Secondly, we are seen as unprofessional in some way or the other, and we're just deemed with this kind of a label that is on us, that is just saying if a young person, there's bound to have some kind of something that is lacking, or I know all of us we're getting what I'm getting at, right? But more or less, especially now in this kind of environment now that we are operating, what we've seen is that even if programs do comes in or new changes or new emerging issues that are happening, for example, the funding cuts or a reprioritization that is happening in countries, a lot of times young people are being left behind, right? Even the conversations that are happening, it's really about, and I know this is going to sound very rhetoric, it's more about those tokenists where we have young person in the space and all of those things. And to make matters worse, we don't know who's representing us in any of those spaces. Sometimes we bump into each other and we're like, oh, hi Samuel from from Zambia, right? And we didn't even know that we're going to go to such a space together and we're going to meet each other. And there's literally no kind of a platform or a collaboration that should happen, that should harmonize us, that we should have this one strong voice where we have clear strategies, where we have clear priorities for young people. And I think it's high time we do that. So that's why as Y Plus Global, yes, we are sitting at global level, but it doesn't make us global. It doesn't make us who we are. For me, it's about the country networks that we work with. It's about, the young people that we work with in all the regions that we're in, all our diversities. That makes us Y Plus, because we are a youth-led network, but also we are a movement. We are this force together that makes the change happen. And that's why we then decided, you know what, let's create this in a more structured and more engaging and more kind of very professional kind of way, engaging and working together at the end of the day. And let's organize ourselves at the end of the day. So this is where the conversation is coming from, where we now started to think about what does the membership look like? We don't want to call it a membership, but it's a partnership, right? It's a collaboration. It's a coming together at mutual grounds and trying to engage each other and prioritize each other as much as possible. So that's why we are here today to discuss what then does that look like. So let's move on. I think the title looks at itself. We are already doing so much. What we just need to do is strengthen what we are doing and come together with this one force that we want to do. Tawanda, next slide. So before we go into all of that, I want us to have a little bit of icebreaker. Do you need to keep me on time and also tell me how much time am I left with? Even if you shout here, I'll obey. So let's get the feeling. Let's get to know when you heard about the call for application or website, and when you then signed up, and then this call for webinar came in. What were your expectations, right? Where do you see this kind of partnership going, and what do you bring on the table really? What is the picture in your kind of strategic thinking, whether it's a network, whether it's you as an individual? What exactly are you really thinking about when it comes to this? So this is an icebreaker. It's a Mentimeter. If we can all try as much as possible to scan and just go through the 3 quick questions that are there. Just doesn't take us less than 2 minutes to do. And we just have a discussion about it, right, before we jump into the whole presentation. So please do. I think also, Tawanda, if you can share the code, because some of us probably the phones are not scanning or anything like that. So if you can share the code, then we can also go direct to the link. So let me also try and see how does that look like. There we go. Are all of us in there? I don't think I'm the main person in this thing. I wonder how do I go to be the main person who's seeing everything happening in the background? Is that the link that you shared with me?
Yes, that's it. But you can use my screen that I'm sharing right now to see what's happening.
Okay, good.
And you can see we are already receiving responses from people.
Good.
We have 7 participants who are responding right now. 8, and the number is rising.
Yes, please, let's jump in, all of us colleagues. Let's jump in, and because I know we are about 40, 50, I think, in the room. So let's all jump in. 45, yes. Let's all jump in, colleagues, and tell us how you're feeling today, this partnership. What is it to you? I'm seeing, yeah, all of us are jumping in. Let's jump in, guys. Oh, I love it. Oh, some are saying box, some are saying excited, exciting, strengthen leadership, amazing, inspired. I feel so good and I can't wait to know more about this partnership. Excited about the future and seeing how we can collaborate and support each other. Super, super, super excited. Opportunities, collaboration, amazing, great. I think those are really great. I'm loving them. But it's only half of us, guys. So does that mean the rest of us are not excited? Or you are allowed to share what you are feeling? For me, for example, I would really love to know someone who said box. What does it mean? If you are free to share with us, what is that feeling for you? You can unmute yourself and share with us. Someone said box. It would be really interesting for all of us to understand what kind of a feeling is that? So feel free to unmute yourself. Are they able to do so? I don't think so, right?
No, they would need to be able to raise their hand.
Yes, please do raise your hand. And if you are free, only if you are free. But it is a very, very exciting and unique feeling, and I acknowledge it. Awesome, awesome. I think let's move on to the next question. I think all of us are feeling inspired. We are feeling hopeful. I'm loving that all of us are feeling this partnership will go a little bit further and to provide opportunities, collaboration, deep understanding about a partnership. I love that. Great. Yes. Let's move on to the next question, Tawanta, so that we can have more time with the presentation. Awesome. So the next question is, what do you think is the biggest opportunity this partnership brings? What do we think? What do we think? Oh, yes, funding. Wave 2, we're saying funding. We've round 2, capacity building, advocacy, networking is still at 1. So which means we only have around 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people that are responding. Only 4. Interesting, guys. Visibility. I totally agree. Visibility. We are doing all the work on the ground, but sometimes the visibility part is where we can also have a shared vision, all of us together, and we can amplify each other's work. Yeah. Yep. Okay, on the let me see. Okay, Tawanda, it seems we are not moving away from the 4 people that answered. Let's move on. I love it. And I love that everyone is sharing their values and what this partnership will bring. And visibility seems to be the next big thing. Awesome. The last question, really. What is the biggest challenge facing youth-led HIV responses in your country? That's really interesting. Let's hear about it. What is the biggest challenges, guys, right now? I know it could be funding, it could be not being recognized, it could be anything. So if you can share with us what is the biggest challenge that you're facing as a youth-led, that would be really interesting. It's coming. It's coming. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Yes. Funding seems to be topping. Yeah. Lack of collaboration. I really love that. I concur because sometimes, and I can give an example. Right here, we've got Youth Advocacy Network, and from Zambia, we've got AFF from Zambia. Who else did I see from Zambia? We've got so many, youth-led networks from Zambia. Yes, we've got YMHAZ from Zambia. Who else did I see from Zambia? So many networks from Zambia, and they're all youth-led, which is amazing, guys. That comes the question. That comes with the question, are we collaborating on the ground? Or are we finding ourselves in competition? I love it. Lack of collaboration, funding. I will not touch that one, but we all know where we are, right? Yeah, capacity building. I agree. Capacity, lack of visibility, shrinking spaces. I agree. Lack of consistent funding. Yes, it's coming along. And I love these people really, really came through for this one. And we all kind of responded to this one. I'm really looking into this. Mental health, that's something that we might want to unpack a little bit more, probably in our next webinar. Access to medication. I totally agree. I've heard so many young people that are saying due to the funding cuts, some of the young people are already not accessing medication, especially those on the second line. So yeah, something that we really want to tackle. Yeah. Yeah, access to commodities, yes, complacency. Interesting. Access to medication is also topping. Workable systems. I love it. I love it. Okay, guys, I think the word cloud really, really demonstrate, most of the commonalities that we have as youth-led networks and some of the challenges that we are facing. And this cuts across the board, right? They're overarching in terms of some of the challenges that we're facing on a day-to-day basis. And I'm hoping with all these three questions that you have highlighted to me, the excitement, the challenges that we're facing, with this partnership, I really hope it brings some form of hope, because I really love hope and being opportunistic or optimistic. I don't know, that's the word. It knows the word better. But also really to have something started and going forward with it. I think that's something that I'm really looking forward to say. We acknowledge the challenges that we do have as young people, or as youth-led organization, or as youth-led responses. What can we do? Because at the same time, we can't sit and be idle about it, right? We have to take action at the end of the day. So, and we've been doing so much. So what is working that we want to continue doing? And what else can we really change that could help us as much as possible? So I'm going to jump into the presentation. I'm going to go through this quickly because I really want us to have a discussion, a meaningful discussion at the end of the day. So my discussion, or this presentation, will focus on the defining what is the context that we're operating in, which is not really surprising. The purpose, understanding the MOU itself, and how does it strengthen collaboration, and what is in this partnership, who is bringing what are our shared values and principles, what are the opportunities. And we need to then kind of have a discussion at the end to really unpack, okay, now we have had this MOU, now we have had this partnership going. Then what? So what? What exactly are we going to do as a next step in the way forward? Let's move on to the next slide. And just to go back to the to the context and the environment that we're operating in as young people, and we really understand that the context is unforgiving, guys. We can talk of statistics. So it's no surprise. In every statistics, we are the most affected or infected. The prevalence is going high in terms of HIV, in terms of TB, malaria, and all other comorbidities, right? It's not a surprise there. But also what we've seen that is so much really kind of repeating itself in conversation that really matters the most. There's no ethical and meaningful engagement that is happening. I know that sounds more rhetoric now, and I think we've been in certain conferences, we've been in different technical working groups, we have been in the head chiefs meetings, or traditional leaders meetings, and trying to push ourselves, right, for us to be ethically and meaningfully engaged and have a seat at the table, as we call it. But at the end of the day, it's not really happening. That's the context that we're operating in. So the question is, why is that? We can borrow, conversations and what transpired during COVID-19 vaccines. We know that the young people were the last to be considered for vaccination, for example. And it's not only that, even if it's a vaccine that is coming and that is new, we know that pediatrics, adolescents, children, young people are the last kind of priority in the whole population. And this has been happening for quite a long time, right? We can talk about different conversations that are happening. For example, we have the PPR right now, which is pandemic prepared. Another one is what? The other P in the response. We'll write it in the chat, the full definition. It ran away from me. So in terms of PPR, right, it's a big conversation that is happening because it's about strengthening health systems. It's about strengthening community systems. And where exactly are we as young people in this conversation? It's really something that we know is not happening. And some of us, we don't even know what is that and how is that conversation going. But our governments, other civil society are in these conversations, and there's even funding there that is going on. So we are constantly being left behind. We've got different, declarations and high-level meetings that do happen. We have got the Lusaka agenda, for example. We've got the Abuja. We've got all of these big declarations that usually happens. And sometimes we are not in the conversation, or they have one person, a young person, that is in those conversations, but there's no literally feedback loops that happens, so that even us on the ground or in the grassroots kind of context, we don't even have access to such conversation that are probably happening at high level meetings or in those big conferences that we are not in. Who is coming back and giving that kind of this is what transpired, this is our action stand as young people, and this is where we should go. So it's very, very important, guys, that we understand the context where we are operating and how so much is unforgiving, and it will never give us space. It will never give us what we really want unless we fight for it. The foreign aid cuts happened and people ran with their own agendas. People living with HIV. You can talk of adults that ran through, yes, with some of the conversation, but at the end of the day, even the young people themselves, I had a conversation with a couple of young people that say, some of them will say, like, I'm in anxiety, guys, because at the end of the day, I don't really know, for example, next year, where is my ERA visa going to come from? But really, there's no platform for us to continue that kind of a conversation. There's no platform for us to strategically position ourselves. Even now, we're talking about integration and how, young people are able to go and talk to the governments. Are we empowered? Do we have accessibility to that? Or the government itself are going to see us as young people and we don't matter and all of those things? Where are we having those conversations? Where are we grouping ourselves and coming together and say, by the way, we need to understand the budgets, we need to understand the legislations, we need to understand what goes on in our country so that we can advocate us as young people and what we need. And sometimes, and I always borrow, what other colleagues say. In other conversation, Jerob, which is a wonderful advocate and a leader in Kenya, once said that, sometimes what we are proposing as integration, it doesn't work for me because sometimes I need that peer supporter to be available for me. So everyone is rallying against integration, but what is the minimum package for us as young people? And where are we having such a conversation? That's the thing that we need to really kind of understand and unpack in these conversations. And that's why we're proposing that maybe through this partnership, maybe through this kind of collaboration and signing an MOU and grouping ourselves together and coming together as a collective could be a starting point for us. Let's move on to the next slide. So what is this partnership? Before I run into that, I think this is a slide about Y Plus Global. If you don't know about Y Plus, please go on our website, browse through. But I think most of us do understand, what is our mission? We are really a young people-led network where we are really, pushing, we are really championing the voices, our priorities as young people living and affected by HIV, but also other comorbidities, other intersectionalities that we need to make sure that it's not only HIV that affects us as young people, but we've got other things. We've got mental health that needs to be dealt with. We've got economic employment, entrepreneurship. There's a lot that we need to unpack as young people, right? This is what we stand for Y Plus Global. The rest, I think you can then definitely read for yourself. Tawanda, let's move on to the next slide so that I allow. Then about our country networks now. Ed is going to unpack more about this in terms of what do we mean when we say you are a youth-led organization? For us, in a broad kind of, definitions and how we see it, we say that you are central role to the national HIV response. You are the one that is on the ground in country, right? Tackling the issues of HIV and other intersectionalities, sexual reproductive health and rights, and you are really in the forefront of, making sure that the voices and, the priorities of young people are being upheld, the rights are being observed, and all of those things. This is who you are. You represent the voices of young people, contribute to local expertise, mobilize communities, ensuring accountability is very, very important for us. But what we're going to unpack more later on is that we need to be very specific, because I think it's high time we define who we are, right? Not to beat about the bush, or for many organizations not to really kind of understand when we say we're a youth-led network or a youth-led response, what does that mean? That's why we then had this guideline developed, which Ed is going to talk about in later on. Let's move on. So the purpose of this MOU, I think I've already highlighted and alluded to some of these critical components, right? It's an affiliation, but at the same time, I want to describe it as a partnership. A partnership where we are coming together with all of our ideas, with all our strategies, and with all our priorities as young people, and say, look, enough is enough. We have so much challenges that are going on, like what our cloud wedding was really highlighting. And all these are really more or the same common amongst all the country networks, right? So where do we convene? Where do we come together? And this is what Y Plus Global is then offering, to say, colleagues, this is the platform where we are coming together as an affiliation between Y Plus Global and country networks, where we are sharing this it's not ownership. We are not owning youth-led networks. You are totally independent youth-led networks that have got their different structures, operational, governance, everything, just like Y Plus Global. And we are coming at this in terms of mutual respect and equality. This is where we really want to be. So we need to emphasize on this, that never in any way we're going to come and say, if you're an affiliated, you are governed by Y Plus or you're under Y Plus Global. Is a partnership. We are here and really hoping, because as Y Plus Global, we've walked the journey. Mind you, we're still evolving, right? We are still learning, we're still unlearning. And some of the things we're also privileged, because we're sitting probably at global and regional level, where we understand some of the dynamics that are changing, right? What the donors are now thinking about policies, which policies matters the most for certain donors. For example, if you talk about UN agencies, they are very much particular about the prevention of sexual exploitation and abuse policies and safeguarding policies, while as others, they are not really so much into that. They want more about the financial controls and all of those things. So we have learned so much as Y Plus Global. That's why we are then saying, you know what, this is an opportunity for us then to kind of come in and strengthen the operational and the structural of our country networks, to say, guys, you've got your internal systems that is working perfect, fine. But sometimes when such donors do come in and find those loopholes, that's why we are lacking in terms of getting the funding, for example, or being recognized as a youth-led network that is very professional, or are running with a course, or for example. So that's why we are saying that we are coming in to really kind of share some of these experiences and say, hey, this is what we have learned. If you want to take it up, yes, the opportunity. And the last one is really about ensuring youth-led, human-centered programming. I know we have so much diverse kind of programming that is happening in different regions. We can talk of Latin America, we can talk of Africa, we can talk of, Asia. And we've got different contexts and different demographics and pandemics that are going on in those different regions, right? And what we need to understand, that even though we are dealing with different dynamics when it comes to, kind of challenges that young people are facing, and a prevalent kind of, I can't call it them disease, but different kind of epidemics that we are working towards too. It's comes at a point in times that whatever we are doing, if we are saying we're a youth-led organization or a youth-led responses, it has to be centralized around youth. we can't have this time and age where, and I know this is what most of the adults really gets them very furious about, that you are an adult organization or a well-seasoned advocates or whatever organization that you're in, but you still emphasize that you're youth-led or you are doing youth-led responses, fair and fine, but what is the criteria? How do you define yourself that you are youth-centered or you are youth-led? It's very, very important. And this is where we need to get it right. And hopefully with this MOU, we're able to articulate it, we're able to name it, to identify it, and be bold about it when you go out there and say, hey, we're youth-led network, this is what we mean. And when you're doing youth programming, this is not it. This is how we hold you accountable. Even when you go to our governments, this is how we should then kind of empower ourselves and make sure that we are youth-led, we are youth-centered, and we are ensuring that our priorities are being met. Let's move on. Some of the objectives, I think, they intersect with the purpose of the MOU. Like I said, we all have these shared values, right? And working in relationship that is already going, and we are really hoping to expand that as much as possible. Whether you're a youth-led network that is new within Y Plus Global, or you are that kind of youth-led that has been working with us, it's something that we're going to be looking forward to really kind of unpack that and have these shared values as much as possible in working in relationship. We are here again, the objectives to strengthen and support country networks as Y Plus Global. This is where we are. And we are also trying as much as possible to prioritize networks for young people when it comes to call for proposal. So what do I mean about this before we get excited? Is that, most of the times when we get funding as Y Plus Global, right? Or when we are looking forward to partner with certain country, or we might not necessarily do go for applications, but we're thinking about applying for a grant, for example. This should then become our priority as Y Plus Global to first publish this call for applications amongst the membership. This is our move, because what we are seeing is that if you open it up, you're going to get a lot of applications in, and sometimes you as a youth-led network, probably I don't have a certain document, or I don't have a certain threshold in terms of the amount that is being asked. They'll say, oh, we want youth-led networks that have got a threshold of 500,000 as an annual income budget. And sometimes you don't have that. That's why we're saying that when we have this memorandum of understanding that is ongoing, we understand the dynamics of your organization and we are working together, we have to do things differently. This development word has to evolve somewhere, somehow. So we're saying that is Y Plus Global. This is our priority, where we're saying, look, we've got 5 country networks in Indonesia, and 1, 2, 3, we know that they're well equipped, but we've got 2 that are still upcoming. They might not have the PSA policy, they might not have this. How can we work together with them? Because at the same time, we're working at a scale where we are not, we are on the other side. We can never compete with a well-organized, organization that literally gets funding all the time. That's why you find that the most funded are the ones that are always in the space, or they have everything in place, but also they are the same ones that the donors keep coming to them, right? Because one, they've made themselves visible. They have this internal robust kind of systems in place. Sometimes they're in big cities that they have access to internet and all of those things. But us who are doing the actual work on the ground, probably I'm down there in the remote areas, I might not have all the internet. But I just want to say, Maxi, over WhatsApp, hi, Saru, I've seen call for application, my dear. Can you give me an opportunity to work on my application? I'm sending it soon, but I might actually send it through WhatsApp, while I'm sending through email, because at the moment the internet is not working. but I want to meet the deadline. Such a workable relationship where we understand what kind of a youth-led network are we working with, what is the plan that they're working towards, and how can we as Y Plus Global come in and support and prioritize such an organization. This is how we're going to grow and evolve as much as possible. Now, this point is not about us directly funding you. If you meet the criteria, if we have got a clear plan together, like I highlighted before, and if you apply, and if your intervention also really speaks to the call for application, you have the chance and opportunity to receive the funding itself. So this is where we want to get as much as possible. And I want to retaliate this and to emphasize that it's not an obligation for Y Plus Global to fund you as a country network. We are also doing resource mobilization, and we are saying this is an opportunity. If we have a call for application, we share it amongst our networks. That's you are our first priority. And if we don't meet that kind of criteria or the application might not be as per what you want to see, obviously it's going to then call for application. It's going to be external, and we're going to invite more organizations to come in. But rest assured, this is where we want to work towards. And in that kind of same conversation, we want to work together in terms of resource mobilization and fundraising. Like I highlighted, sometimes you as a youth-led network, you don't have the threshold that this call for application is requesting. For example, they'll say 2 million or they'll say 1 million. They will say 100,000. But sometimes as a youth-led network, I don't have that kind of a big of a budget that is going on, right? So this is where you say, Y Plus Global, I've seen this call for application. Are you in a position for us to apply together? You become the host, then we partner in this consortium, then we apply for funding. That's the only way that we can win, guys. Or for example, you can come together as a consortium, because we are not only saying you're working with us as Y Plus, you are working together as a partnership, as youth-led networks amongst ourselves. What we are mainly doing as Y Plus is to connect each other, for us to get to know each other. It's for us to really remove this competition and these barriers that we have seen going on right over the years, and say, okay, we are 5 networks in Zambia. How do we work together? Can we form a consortium and say to, for example, to VIV or to Global Fund in country and say, look, we are a consortium, we are coming in as youth-led networks, we want funding on ABCD, this is our proposal, and we've got Y Plus Global who's going to come in and do technical support, We come together, we do that. Because at the moment, it's still lacking. It's not there. That's why we are here, right? So for us, that's how we are seeing it. That is not only Y Plus to country networks. It's amongst and mostly amongst young people, youth-led networks in those countries coming together, becoming stronger. Otherwise, if you come in the room and you see Maximina is the one that is, in the technical working group, and we go and we start to question ourselves, but why Maxi was the one that was, invited in the spaces? We are also a youth-led networks. That's not, obviously, we are causing kind of, misalignment. We are doing our programming in a fragmented way. So how do we come together and work in such a collaborative way that it benefits all our organizations and we grow together as a network, as a movement? I think it's very important. But at the end of the day, we need to ensure that there's safeguarding of our priorities as young people. It's very important because no one is coming to our rescue, guys. Everyone is running with their own agenda. That's utmost truth. So we need to make sure that we are in the spaces. We are fighting for what we need as young people. And also accountability. The accountability part, yes, we can hold governments accountable. We can hold other civil society accountable. But the one that I want to talk about today is accountability, us as youth-led networks. It's very important, guys, that if me as a Y Plus Global give you XYZ or ZY plus in this organization funding, and I say go and implement, and you go and violate the same funding that I gave you, to go and reach more young people, and you take it and you violate and you misuse the funds, at the end of the day, are we being accountable, guys? That's the most way we need to kind of say, if we are going in for this thing, and if we are going to work together, how are we going to be accountable us amongst ourselves, and how do we hold each other accountable? If it's me as a leader and I say we're going to have quarterly meetings, for example, and that is not happening, how do you hold us as Y Plus Global accountable? Because it's very important, and this is where we want to be. Before we hold everyone else out there, whether it's funders, whether it's policymakers and all of those things, are we ourselves holding each other accountable? Are we being true to our course? It's very important. Are we utilizing even the little funding that we're getting so that we get more funding? It's very frustrating, honestly speaking. You do this funding, right? And you push as much as possible. And at the end of the day, people misuse the funding. People don't do the exact thing that they said they're going to do in the application. So we need to make sure that it's very much. I am on you, Eddie. Thank you so much for the time check. How much time do I left with? Oh my God, let's move on. Let's move on.
Yeah, if we can wrap up within the next 5 minutes, Maxi, that'd be great.
Good. I'm gonna do that. Let's move on. I told you guys I'm very passionate about this. I talk a lot. Let's move on to the next slide. And I think a lot you're going to read it in the MOU, and we have more time to unpack some of these things. So we have more opportunities. Key benefits, I think this is where Sari is coming in to discuss about this, so I'll not touch them. Let's move on. Responsibilities of country networks, it's also very important. Like I said, you will maintain your independence and legal autonomy. It's very important. We also want to share, like I said, we have learned, we are still evolving, and we know some of the critical things that an organization will have. For example, a safeguarding or PISA policies, it's very important, right? For us, if you want to really work with us, it's a mandatory that you should at least work on one of that kind of a policy, because we know it safeguards us as young people. It safeguards other young people that you are working with, that no one should come in and violate us as much as possible. But we ourselves, because we are professionals, how do we also hold other young people very, in a safe and security spaces, and not for them to get violated? But mostly, how do we start then to practice a way of acknowledging these cases that happens within our own organizations and be able to deal with them? I think it's very important. We need transparent, inclusive, youth-led governance. This is where we are heading as a next step. For example, adapt accountability and data protection standards. It's very important. And I think most of the things we're going to continue to talk about them. I think the next training that we're going to have, I think it's going to be Meta Valia's guideline, where I think it's Priscilla is going to take us through what we stand for as young people, because most of the times we've been violated, we've been abused for quite a long time. And it's high time we turn the tables as much as possible. Again, contribute to collective advocacy and reporting. This is where we are going, and this is where we are heading. Let's move on. Partnership in practice, what does that look like? Joint initiatives and project implementation, fiscal hosting, like I highlighted, but also as Y Plus Global, we also obligated to charge what we call admin fee, because what we can't do is when you do transfers of your money from Y Plus to your organization, for example, we incur bank charges and all of those things. So whatever amount that you're receiving as a grant, as long as we are your fiscal host, we always charge 5%. Sometimes we call you to be in some of the advisory roles that we create as Y Plus Global, but these are non-voting. Mutual visibility. I've seen visibility where people were saying, you know what, as organizations, we need as much visibility as possible. And while this is going to add on my team's work, which is the communication department that Ed is leading, we welcome that. We really want to amplify each other's work, guys, because Y Plus Global is very visible, right? And we've worked on it, and we are in the spaces. We see this as an opportunity for us to have mutual visibility where we can share your logos, your small description of your organization on our website, or some of the reports that you want us to share, please do send those through so that we can always be sharing some of those things. So this is just a mini combination, but most of the information is in the MOU itself. So when you get the MOU, sit down, go through the MOU, because I think it will explain a little bit further. And if you have questions, please do come back to us. Then we can always support each other as much as possible. Let's move on to the next slide. I think that's the last slide. Exit and transition plan is well kind of explained in the MOU, but we are saying that, and this is what I've seen for quite a long time, right? That us as young people, we don't want to move. We don't want to move. We don't want to transition. We want to stay there forever. We need to acknowledge, guys, that change is going to happen. And we have a limited time period to make impacts, and we move on. And we give other new emerging young leaders to take up this space. We can't be I'm sorry to say, the well-seasoned generation that is in the space, and we know, and we've worked with them, and we love them, and all of those things, but they still want to be called young people at the end of the day. Guys, we need to make sure that we give each other this opportunity. And that's what I've always been saying, even those that we do fund and that we work with as youth-led networks, that we are not entitled, one, to be in this space and say, yes, we are young people linked with HIV, or we are identify ourselves as young LGBTQIs. We acknowledge all of it, right? But at the end of the day, you have your 3-year period where you can make your progress. It's up to you where you want to get. The technical support is available. All of these benefits and everything that I've been talking about is available, and we're going to implement that. So after 3 years, guys, you have to exit so that we can have another youth-led network have opportunities come in the space. And this also goes to our leadership. Let's acknowledge, guys, as long as it is going to define what a youth-led network is and is about, let's understand that. And let's make sure that when the time comes, and I always say it comes to you as a youth leader, that you are not prepared, you are not thinking ahead, transition is going to happen. That's where we'll feel that when the new leader of Y Plus Global not want to come in, I feel very entitled that by the way, I will not live for Y Plus Global. No, because I was part of the foundation, I was part of this and all of that. I'm sorry, Eddie, to take your time, but this is very important. As young people, we need to do things differently, guys. Which means you, as soon as you step in a leadership position, or as soon as you step into this MOU, and partnership, understand that you have a certain period to make your mark, whether you want to focus on internal robust, kind of, or your organization, you want to build it, you want to have this much technical assistance. That's the only period that we have. Make the most of it, then you are out. Then we give another opportunity to other organizations, other young people. You can't always be seeing me in panels and everything when we have the Priscillas and the Sarus and the Tawandas. I mean, it's not fair, guys. So let's also run with that kind of responsibility, accountability, and also we are not running blindly, right? You are a leader, you have a vision, and you say, by the end of this period, I should have done A, B, C, D, and I should be able to hand over these successes to the next leader. That's what should happen, guys. So this comes from the deep down of my heart, and I've seen these kind of things transpire in our work. And this also kind of derails us, guys, because the world is watching, and they always say, young people, you are not organized. So let's get organized, guys. Grounds, violations, misconducts, we really need to understand all these safeguarding breaches. We're going to unpack them more. Succession plan for leadership, age limit 35, especially if you are in the leadership of an executive director, for example. Let's ensure that we are following these things through, right? It's very important, guys. So it's important. Smooth handover of responsibilities and resources. This is what we pride ourselves in. I'm going to end here. Eddie, do you want to go to the next presentations? Then we can open up the discussions later because I have a very important question that we all need to tackle. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll save for the discussion for after all the presentations. So for all of those who just joined us, please just bear with us a little bit longer before you ask your questions. But we do have the chat function, so if you want to
Yes.
already drop down your questions, you can already do
Please
so.
do. Please do. Please do. And I'll answer there. Thanks, everyone. Over back to you, Eddie.
Thank you so much, Maximina, and thank you for walking us through the MOU very, very comprehensively, and I hope that's given the partners a lot to think about. So, Tawanda, could you do me the honor of showing our slides? Now, Maxi has already briefly talked about Youth Next Level, and she's mentioned it a couple of times in her opening. And the reason why we wanted to have this discussion where Gabriella and I will walk you over Youth Next Level is because when you receive the MOU, you'll see specific references to Youth Next Level, and we want you to understand from our point of view why we have included that as a reference, but also give you a taste of what our values are, what our priorities are, and how our focus is making sure that those are aligned with your values too. So next slide, please, Tawanda. So just briefly, Gabriella and I are going to be covering the core principle of meaningful and ethical youth engagement. Now, Maxi earlier also mentioned one of our key resources, We Matter Value Us, which focuses specifically on just meaningful youth engagement. But Youth Next Level goes a little bit further just to kind of address some of the other key issues that help strengthen youth-led responses. So other than that, we'll be discussing why Youth Next Level guidance is also referenced in the MOU. I think Gabriella will talk us a little bit about the definitions and the checklist within Youth Next Level, but also we can also explore how we need to anchor some of those shared values, which is also what Maxi has also talked about, and how we should be supporting each other, empowering each other, and also building organizational systems that can help address some of the key issues within the HIV response. Next slide, please. Oh, great. Okay, so if you have your phone at your disposal, you can already open up your camera, scan the QR code. We do have the resource available in English, French, and Spanish. Yay. It took a lot of time for us to get that ready for you all. And it's not just the guidance that we have available for you. We also have the posters, we also have the definitions, and we also have a step-to-step rollout for country implementation. So all those resources are available to you in those 3 languages on our website. All you need to do is just scan the QR code. So I'm just going to give it a couple of more seconds for you guys to just reach out for your phone and scan it. And whatever language you feel most comfortable in, I do encourage you to please read through some of these documents because we spent a lot of time working on them and they are very, very, very good. Okay, next slide, please, Tawanda. So just a brief introduction to the guidance. If you weren't there for the launch that we did at the AIDS conference last year, or if you weren't there for the launch that we did in December, then just a quick overview. Youth Next Level is a suite of resources that we help develop with UNAIDS as a way to strengthen the roles of young people within local, national, regional, and global HIV responses. So it's supposed to cover our engagement at all levels. Although this was intended for, in terms of audience, it was intended for governments and donors and key stakeholders. I think this is where Maxi and I and the team and we all realized that we could go even further with this resource. And we thought, you know, we spent so much time and effort trying to find these definitions that we could include it within our systems. We include it within the MOU as a way to also encourage other organizations to also implement some of the critical changes. And Gabriella will also explain why in a little bit. But we've been trying to work and understand these definitions now for over 4 years. So a lot of work, time, blood, sweat, and tears have gone into this. But it's also been a very consultative process. So we've engaged a variety of different groups, young people from across the world, various youth-led organizations, just to really unpack what youth-led responses mean, what youth-led organizations mean, and also how those checklists can help improve the way that you work as an organization. What it does is it encourages meaningful engagement of young people, but not just as beneficiaries, but as equal partners in helping lead HIV interventions. This is something that we already know. But what we also cover, and what Maxi has already said, is a lot of detail about some of the other aspects like social accountability and discussing the tokenism, and it's about ensuring that young people are engaged in decision-making and program design, implementation, accountabilities, all these different processes that help really strengthen youth leadership within the HIV response. And it's also about laying those foundations for our principles and our values, and also for how Y+ Global operates and with its partners too. Next slide, please, Tawanda. So the most important thing is, why is Youth Next Level referenced in the MOU? Well, the easy, straightforward comment is that it's not only a partnership document, it represents, like Maxi said, a shared commitment to our values. So when we reference Youth Next Level in the MOU, and you will see it soon enough, we want to make sure that all the partners have the same understanding of what meaningful youth engagement looks like in practice, but it also creates some form of consistency and accountability across all the networks. And it's also about strengthening solidarity, because who doesn't love solidarity? But what the guidance offers to you is those clear definitions of youth engagement and practical checklists. So Gabriella will talk about that, but I do want you to think about these 3 questions as we kind of go through the presentations. Where are we on the spectrum when it comes to, or level actually, where are we on the level when it comes to youth engagement? Where do you see your organizations on that kind of level? How are young people integrated into your system? So that's looking about your governance structure, it's looking about your operations. But then last but not least, it's about what changes need to be kind of implemented to help strengthen some of those inclusivity markers and some youth leadership aspects. So I hope that all of you are able to kind of reflect within your organization, use the resource to your advantage, because that's why we develop them. It's for you. And then also, if you have any questions about it, you can always reach out. But I'll pass the mic now to Gabriella, who will talk a little bit more about the definitions and the checklist.
Thank you, Eddie, so much. All right. So I'm sure, and just to continue what Eddie was explaining, I'm sure you all have talked about these definitions. You all have heard these words. It's part of the work we do. It's part of the work you do as advocates in your organizations. So let's start with something simple, but that is very powerful, and it's related to what do we mean when we say youth-led responses and youth-led organizations. The guidance has a definition. I'm not gonna read it just because you're gonna receive this presentation and you'll be able to see it, and because the definition is also in the guidance. But a youth-led response is basically, it's not just a project for young people, it's a project by young people for young people. That means that young people are making the decisions, they shaping the strategies, and when there is funding, they are the ones also managing the budget. So that's what we understand for youth-led responses, youth-led HIV responses. You get a better definition in the guidance that I'm sure you all gonna be coming back to. When we are referring to a youth-led organization, we refer to organizations that where at least 80% of the leadership, the staff and volunteers are under 30, and where decision-making is horizontal, meaning that it's not just one person at the top, but youth working together and holding each other accountable. So yes, can we continue with the next slide? Next slide, please. The next one. Thank you so much. And I want to talk to you a little bit on why these definitions are important. And well, we realized, and like Eddie said, this was a guidance tool developed with a lot of young people. Like we wouldn't be able to do it without all the young people that dedicated the time, and that let us also understand that these definitions were important and we needed them in the guidance because they provide us clarity and credibility Too often, you know, we hear about youth engagement, but it's unclear what that means in practice. And with the Youth Next Level, we can actually measure it and actually think, is this truly youth-led or is this just youth involved? And for this, we created, in every section, you will see some different checklists. The idea of the checklist were for you to make the whole process easier to understand, okay, how can I connect the definition with the work that I do or with my organization and bring it into a practical level. So when we talk about practical, the Youth Next Level is going to give us the checklist that any organization can use to ask themselves. Are young people leading or just sitting in the room? Are they represented in all their diversity? Or we only have a little number of groups when we talk about youth living in all their diversity? Is the organization at least 80% governed by young people? Do young people have real decision-making power or just a seat at the table with no influence? So these are very simple questions that can wake up your organizations or can wake up the partners that we're working with and show exactly where change is needed. I'm going to give you an example. We developed the guidance thinking that we will use it with the stakeholders that organizations work with. But in one of the events where we were presenting the guidance, some of the organizations actually use the checklist as a way of auto-evaluation to understand and know if they were actually involving young people and being youth-led and representing young people. So it's actually also a great tool for the work that you do. And like Maxi and Eddie said, to connect it with the MOU and really reflect on the work that we're doing. Can we go to the next slide, please? So, well, how can we move forward from the checklist to the action? And the Youth Next Level give us a roadmap that you're gonna be able to see it, where we can map where you can see the map of the legal and policy landscape. You can understand what youth-led responses already exist and some good practices and examples. You can also assess the capacities and needs of youth-led organizations. We talk also about the gaps and the opportunities. It provides us also with an opportunity to scale up what is working. You know, we don't have to start from scratch. And that's the idea also of the membership, to learn from others and to scale up what is already working and monitor the progress and sustain it. So this is not about just the theory, but it's a cycle that helps us to look into the youth-led systems that we have into our organizations step by step. Can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you so much. We have then at the end some of the checklist questions that you should be asking when it comes to working with the MOU and the commitment that we have. I don't know, Eddie, if this is the last slide for you. Yeah, you want to go ahead and explain it.
No, that's fine, Gabby. The checklist is the kind of the last one, I think, unless we have another one, Tawanda. Next slide, Tawanda. Okay. I can finish off this one. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yes, so partners, colleagues, I mean, we've thrown a lot of information your way, so I hope you're able to kind of take some time to digest it. You don't need to fully understand everything at the moment, but the resources that we share with you will hopefully give you some clarity. But as Maxi and Gabriella said, and just in summary, that what we said is the MOU is the commitment, and Youth Next Level is a way that we can kind of implement it. Youth engagement must be embedded into all areas. It's governance, it's policies, it's staffing, it's program delivery. It's not just an add-on. It needs to be supporting the organization at every structure so that young people are included and supported and empowered at every level. So, as Maxi said, this is more than just a membership. This is a partnership. It's about keeping things sustainable and just making sure that all of our values are aligned, not just within our global vision, but it's also with yours as well. So, just use Youth Next Level in whatever way that you can. We hope that will serve as a roadmap to help partners translate some of those commitments into concrete action. But like we said, it's more importantly about aligning some of those priorities and those values and ensuring that the network means we're committing to growth and accountability, and it's a shared leadership with young people. So don't worry, everybody. You will see the MOU within. I will try to send it all to you, either tomorrow or the following day. And if you do request or if you do need a Spanish version, I'm more than happy to provide that to you as well. We are currently going to be working on the French version, so our French partners, French-speaking partners, just hold off a little bit longer. And I think that's all from my end. And then I'm happy to have Saru just quickly jump in and maybe walk us through some of those benefits that organizations might receive from joining our membership. Saru, are you able to take over?
Yeah, sure. I think I'm waiting on Tawanda, but one thing I think I need to just highlight and continuously highlight that everyone has been speaking about is, this is not just a membership on paper. It's not just a label. It's about, a dynamic exchange, what members can expect from us, what we expect from members in return. That's what basically I'm going to be speaking about during the next 5 minutes. I'm hoping to be on time. Eddie, I can see. But I mean,
Please.
I think at least I'm not like Maxi. Maxi is very passionate about this. I at least try to then, tell myself, hey, I have 5 minutes, and then my timer will just be all over the place. But yeah, Tawanda, please go to the next slide so that we can move. So generally, I'm not sure if you've gone on our website, but this is just an overview of what us as Y Plus Global do. We have 11 ongoing projects. We work across different geographical areas in Africa, in Latin America, in Asia. We focus on, increasing ethical and meaningful engagement of adolescents and young people. We want to build young people's knowledge, capacity, and skills. We want to amplify community initiatives. We want to address data and research gaps. These are some of the things that drive us as Y Plus Global. So this membership comes at like a really opportune time for us. It has been there in the beginning, but I think making it bigger now is fantastic for us as an organization, because there are some things that, we were wanting also as an organization to just amplify within internally, but we decided to also bring some people on board for this. Next slide, Tawanda. So what kind of benefits do we have, or that we envision that you're going to have? So members can expect access to tailored technical support. So this is whether through toolkits, membership, mentorship, capacity building, capacity strengthening. We do have projects already that are doing this, where we are strengthening organizational and leadership skills of youth-led and youth-focused organizations and young people. So we have United Movement, Her Voice Fund, Gender Equality Fund. These are some of the projects that are already giving tailored technical assistance. This support, we envision it will help the organizations deliver stronger, more sustainable programming. And in return, what we ask from members is your proactiveness, to identify the areas where support is most needed within your networks, and to put the tools and skills that we already have and that we're planning to develop into practice, but at a more local or even national and regional level. And we'll also continuously amplify our capacity resources to ensure that, we make them as public as possible and as accessible as possible. Next slide. Another benefit that we foresee is access to funding opportunities, like what Maxi was saying earlier. We are going to help open the door, or at least, like just making it a little bit okay for you to get the entry point. So we're trying to open the door to the funding in the membership, and we'll make sure we do this by, ensuring that you receive updates on calls for proposals, invitations to donor engagement sessions, sometimes even direct opportunities to apply for some grants. So we're currently doing this with some of our projects like a Voice Fund, which is already providing small grants supporting adolescent girls and young women, engagement across multiple countries. We will also be able to provide guidance on eligibility and basic compliance so that your applications are stronger. And basically what we expect in return is just your transparency and accountability. When members access these resources on donor access and opportunity, we want them to use them to strengthen your network, but also strengthen the communities that you serve. So, what we would want is to just share back the learning that you would have had, so that other members also across other regions or other networks can also benefit as well. Next slide. One of the things that we thrive on is participation and influence. So members will also have an opportunity to influence. Y+ Global Network membership is a seat at the table. It's not just you featured in the newsletter. We're going to be inviting you into advocacy campaigns that focus, on the key areas that we keep on talking about on sexual and reproductive health and rights, human rights, HIV. So we will be inviting you into policy consultations, regional, national, and global forums. We've done this for our programs already, like Club Alliance and United Movement, but we are going to amplify this a little bit more for the membership and continue to shape the priorities on key areas at specific levels. Influence, I think you also know this, influence works really well when the members are engaged. So we will be expecting the membership or people in the membership to contribute their voices, experiences, and innovations. It's not just a one-way street. We're going to be collaborating. We're also going to be sharing experiences. We can help open the door, but the members will walk through them and they bring issues from their context into global conversations, which brings me to the next thing, which is on visibility and networking. Y+ Global, we do most of our work on social media, on newsletters. We amplify our work on newsletters and annual reports. So we ensure that the membership is featured also in these and also featured in campaigns, leadership spotlights, and any events at national, regional, and global level. Being part of the network will connect the people part of the membership to global partners, other youth-led movements, and even donors, like I mentioned earlier. And this visibility is not cosmetic or nice to do. It's how promising ideas are going to be, spotted and scaled across the network. So we would really love your participation if you're part of this membership. In return, we would ask the members to keep sharing stories, data, successes, because if we don't have your information or what you're doing, there's nothing for us to publish. There's nothing for us to share. So it'll be good for us to, continue to share all of that. And the stronger the flow of information is from the members, the more we can collectively highlight the youth-led impact within our communities. Next slide, Tawanda. Finally, I think I would just love to highlight some of the exclusive and mutual benefits of the membership, and maybe just summarize some of the things that I've spoken earlier. So for the members, like I said, you have, Y+ Global will provide access to capacity strengthening workshops, donor engagement opportunities, priority in funding applications, nominations for conferences, spaces for peer learning and mentorship. We're only not just giving you visibility, but we're ensuring that your voices are also heard. We'll also offer you an organized and mutual partnership across the regions we work in to ensure that we all have one agenda, we have one priority, and we have core shared values. Because if there's one thing that we keep on getting accused of is to have different priorities when we are all youth-led organizations focusing on one thing. So it'll be good for us to have one agenda. One of the key things that we are also proud to do with this membership is to assist in the alignment of governance and compliance as country networks. We'll also assist the membership with policy guidance and the strengthening of safeguarding. But this relationship, like I'm saying, is not one way. Y+ Global will also gain from the members. We will benefit when members actively participate in the initiatives that we are going to be coming up with, sharing stories and community insights, using the resources with accountability, of course, And the innovation that you're going to bring and your lived experiences will help shape the strategies for this membership. The collaboration will also strengthen collective advocacy. This balance, I believe, is what makes the membership very meaningful. It's not just about what you receive, but it will also be about what the shared value is that we're going to be creating together. I think I tried to keep in time. Maybe just to summarize one last time so that we are all on the same page. Together, we have the pillars of Y+ Global: raise our voice, building our network, securing our future. We are hoping to build a global community where young people living with and affected with HIV can lead, can influence, and can thrive. So that's basically what we are hoping for this membership to be, and would really love to just have everyone in this room on board, be very active, be very engaged, so that we can actually make change. Eddie, I tried to keep to your time. I hope I did well.
You did amazingly, better than some. Thank you so much, Saru. Oh, thank you so much. So, colleagues, partners, I know it's been quite long, but we hope that the presentations now have given you a better understanding of our membership. Maximina walked us through the MOU and what the membership framework looks like. Gabriella and I had explained to you about Youth Next Level and why we incorporated that into the MOU to give you an understanding of meaningful youth engagement. And then Saru has kindly walked us through some of the benefits and the mutual benefits that we have when we align our values. So I'm very, very conscious of time. We've already gone over time, and I apologize for that. But I do want to give a few minutes just in case anybody has any questions. We'll try to answer a couple of them, but if you would prefer just to leave your questions in the chat box, please go ahead or raise your hand like I'm seeing right now. I do want to encourage you to please keep your questions quite short and sweet and short, just because we are running out of time. But yes, please go ahead. Nawanyaga, I'm butchering your name. Tawanda, if you can open their microphone so that they can speak.
Gloria.
Hi, Eddie. If you could repeat their name again.
Somebody raised their hand. I believe their name was Nawanyaga.
It was Gloria, Glorian.
Oh,
Mm.
damn.
But
Gloria raised her
yes,
hand.
yes, Gloria, yes.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hi. We can hear you perfectly. What's your question?
All right, perfect. Good morning and good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are from. My name is Nawanyaga Gloria. I'm so happy, super excited to be part of this partnership meeting and can't wait to partner with Y+. Maxi, I'm happy to see you on this call. We have been told to keep it short and sweet. My question is about the age. And I understand we're not going to be young forever. There is a new generation that is going to come after us. But then my question is, in case, I'm not yet 35, but in case someone turns 35 and they recruit new young people who are below that age, will the organization still stay a partner for Y+? Or if the person who registered, for example, I'm soon clocking my 30s and I'm becoming a partner in the next 5 years, I'll not, be 5 to 6 years, I'll not be the team leader of my organization. So I'll be getting someone else. Does that mean that my organization will still not be a partner of Y+, or there'll be that provision in case another person who is younger comes in? Thank you, and back to you. Hope the question is clear.
Very clear, Gloria. Let me jump in quickly. You said you'll be around 35-ish, yeah, in 5 years. Your organization is exiting in 3 years' time, my dear. After 3 years, you exit as an organization. That's the first term and criteria that we need to understand, that your organization is only staying within the partnership with Y Plus Global for a period of 3 years, so that we also give opportunity to other organizations. That's the first thing. Secondly, yes, might not be your organization, but others here. It's important to really think about transition plan. It's important because it doesn't happen overnight, right? It's a process. It begins in preparations. It begins in acknowledging. So when you do all those processes and when you show Y Plus Global, this is the plan that we have in place. That's what we work with, really. So that's what I really want to encourage all of us, that it has to be intentional. We have to work on it. Yeah.
Yep. No, yeah. Yeah, you don't stop being a partner because you turn 35. We're not ageist, you know.
No, we are not.
If you committed to that time period, then it's like what Maxi said. It's about reviewing those exit strategy plans and making sure that if you do leave after you've turned 35, then you have young leaders coming in to fulfill those positions. So don't worry, your partnership does not end because you turn 35 on your birthday. I promise you. Okay, we have another question in the chat box. Mekane asked where you'll be signing in. We're very excited to join the partnership. You will receive the MOU in your inbox within the next couple of days. If you need a Spanish or a French version, please do reach out to me directly and we can provide that for you. But we'll send out the English version primarily to most partners. And yes, we can also send you the recording of the meeting so you can also access that as well. Okay, we have two hands raised, and then I think that's it. We don't have much time, so I'm so sorry, colleagues. This is all we can do. Tanya, you may go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Luindi Mapungura from Action for Youth Foundation Trust, Zimbabwe. My question is, how are we going to know our fellow country partners that are in this partnership? Thank you.
Great question indeed.
I can probably also take this one as well. As soon as we received all the MOUs, we plan to do a really big announcement on all our social media, all our comms, so that you can also get to know who the other country partners are, but also how you can also connect with other country partners as well. So as soon as you sign the MOU, we can give you access to that information.
Awesome. And it's not about getting the list, it's about how do you then group ourselves within that country.
Exactly. It's a cross collaboration and cross learning that we love. Okay, we have one more question from Tamu. Knows. I am not.
Tamu is okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. My name is Adeni Adeboye Scott. I am from Tech Pride Alliance, Nigeria. I just have a few questions that I would like to ask. I wanted to know what are the checks and balance and structures that would be put in place for the chairs to be accountable, transparent, and deal in their dealings generally. That's just a question I wanted to know. I hope you understand that, or should I come again?
I completely understand. Yes, definitely.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Okay. And then we'll also take one more question from Sharon, and then that's it. And then we'll answer your questions. Sharon?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Am I loud and clear?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay, mine is not a question, actually, it's an appreciation. My name is Sharon Chito. I am a Yale 2024-2025 program by Y Plus Global. And I'm really happy to be one of the partners in my country, Uganda. And also I'm really so appreciative with the opportunities that have been given to me as a young person, as my new organization. I have gotten like 5 implementations in my organization. So I'm really, really so excited. I think me as a person, all the presentations have been so clear, and I know really what is really going to happen after the MOU, because I have been given opportunities since 2024, and it's just a thank you. I'm really, really very, very excited for my new organization to really be a partner of Y+ Global, to also to be given another chance for 3 years to really work with Y+. Yes, thank you so much, Maximina. I'm so happy, and everyone on the team. Yeah, those are my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We love our young emerging leaders. Thank you so much for that really kind words. I'm sure Maximina also agrees that it brings a lot of joy to our hearts knowing that opportunities are being made available to you and that you're able to grow. That's the only thing that we want to see in people. We just want to see growth and leadership being taken for, being serious. And it's just, yeah, thank you so much for your kind words. Maxi, do you want to quickly respond to that first initial question about accountability and then?
Yes, checks and balance, very important, right? Because I'm always talking about being accountable and having this partnership, not just a dormant one, where we know, we have 30 partners of youth-led organizations in Latin America, Africa, and whatnot, and it's just lying there dormant. What we are is about us being actively engaged in this process, and also to see together how do we want this partnership to really work. Yes, we have understand the benefits, we've understand how we work together. For example, Y+ Global sharing those opportunities, cross-collaborating in country and all of those things. But it would be good for us to come together, because that's the most question that I had on my presentation. And I think, Eddie, when you're sending in the MOU, please share the question as well, so that people can also respond back to us in terms of how do you this partnership from now onwards, when you sign the MOU, and when you send in the logos, we announce and all of things. What then? What are the next steps? How do we remain an active, very engaged, very well structured, and have a clear purpose, a clear vision together? And I think that's where the question is now coming to say, how do we organize ourselves? For me, I had one idea. I don't want to impose, because I want to hear from you. It would be good to just have a small technical working groups from all of us, where they can sit down and say, now we 3 months away from closing the year. What is the most important thing that we can push forward as a partnership, or as members of Y+ Global? Is it about us amplifying each other's work? Is it about learning a certain skill or anything like that? Because what we don't want at the end of the day is Y+ Global always driving this. It seems like it's a one-way direction of way kind of relationship, which I don't really like, because the accountability part becomes very difficult. I would really love a situation where we can have 4 or 5 members of the organizations represented by all the regions that we're working with within Y+ Global come together. Let's think through together with myself and my team. Then just have a clear, very simple, because we are independent organizations, we are working. We don't want anything that want more funding or anything like that, but as a start, what can we do? Then at the end of the year, we then plan for the next year. How are we continuously also going to be working together, so that doesn't become a dormant kind of relationship? Let me end there, and I hope that answers the question, Tamu. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Maxi. Okay, so I think we've come to the end of the webinar. I did just post a little message in the chat box, but we do want to thank everybody who joined us today. We are very, very appreciative of your time and your effort and your willingness and encouragement to kind of want to join our membership. It brings a lot of great joy to our organization, knowing that people want to partner with us and want to be part of this growing movement. So thank you so much. We hope we didn't take too much time out of your busy day. But if you have any pending or urgent questions, you can always drop us an email. We'll be more than happy to answer any of your queries. Like I said, I'll be in touch with you in the next 48 hours with all the resources and the MOU and the recording and everything that people have asked me for. So just stay tuned until you receive my email. And then if you still have any questions, like I said, feel free to ask. So maybe on behalf of the team, thank you so much for joining us today. And for the interpreters, we cannot thank you well enough for joining and also supporting us. You are honestly the bedrock and the best for being able to keep up with what we're talking about. So thank you so much to the interpreters. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your day. Please enjoy the rest of your week also. Stay safe, take care. Thank you so much.